Right, you lot, welcome back to the eighth part of this lyric breakdown series. I'm going to be honest, I forgot what number I was on. I had to go bloody rewatch the last one. Yeah, because it's been a while since I recorded, and I've got the memory of a goldfish. So yeah, if you're new to this series, basically what I'm doing is I'm going through the next few months or so, going through my album song by song, and kind of breaking down the meaning, going through it line by line, and kind of giving some more context to the song. Usually I just go on a deep discussion about my ideologies in life, so that's always exciting. And I kind of at the beginning was just going miscellaneous, like I did Bandage and U-Turn just randomly, but then I decided it would probably make a bit more sense of the narrative and cohesion of the series to go in some sort of order. But even then, I'm not in order. But I've gone for some sort of order. I've kind of broken them into two halves: the the ones I wrote before 2023 and the ones I wrote after we hit the 1st of January 2023. And I've got two more to do that were from 2022, so I might as well take those two off now. So, yeah. And the first of those two is Go Away, which is kind of an awkward song title. Now I think about it, because it's like I'm reading it out. It's a bit rude, isn't it? But yeah, Go Away is it could have had different meanings, but it was a song that actually had a few changes. Because going into this album, and when I first started writing it, about 3 weeks into it, probably the biggest death in history happened. The Queen died, and it was a substantial moment. The whole world froze, fell in devastation. The football got cancelled for 2 weeks. That was the main thing I remember. But it, it was heartbreaking for a lot of people, and so it kind of that death and also a few other deaths that actually meant a bit more to me on a serious level at that time also happened. So I kind of wanted to do a song about death, the privilege of life. It made sense, it kind of fit, but originally I was going to do it like a kind of straightforward ballad, but I kind of clocked that would be very overdone. Like, come on, another band about death. And I wanted to have something distinctly different about it, and I thought, wouldn't it be a funny oxymoron to actually have a more up-tempo beat to like this kind of sad thing, and that kind of makes it more vivid. And I think it really worked for the song. It's one of the longest songs on the album, so there should be a lot to break down. But I think the song is probably one of the more straightforward ones. I don't think there's too much jeopardy or too much kind of complexity in it, which is why I kind of held off doing this one, but I will break it down. So the first lyric is everything dies eventually, and you're left with only memory, fixated on what could have been, having to continue the legacy. Life's such a stereo entity, and having no final breath, life at night goodbye with no final call. Death's never a shadow, at stream where you face the fall. The lyrics in this opening verse were very inspired by country, and in particular Cole Swindle. He's kind of a modern pop country artist who is very well received in modern times, and it kind of is that idea of like death is like a thing that you can't plan. It literally can come at any moment. It literally, you know, it just goes. But then it's inevitable. It's not something that like is shocking because you know it's going to happen. It can be shocking depending on when it happens, but it's an inevitable in life. And I think it's that thing of like actually you have to continue a legacy, you have to make someone's life live on, and you have to make them feel like they had an impact on the world after they've died. I think that kind of mourning process is that responsibility, especially when you lose someone that is close to you, that you've got to honour them, you've got to remember them, you've got to pass on their story to new generations to kind of, you know, I know the tales of ancestors that I never met just based off stories that have been passed down, and I hope to continue that as well and to keep those memories alive. And then we've got the bridge of the song, which is one of the rare ones I've actually have a bridge. I don't always include them. I'm only here for a light year, only time until it disappear. Wish back then I would have held back the tears and saw what I have right here. And it's the idea of me. I spent a lot of time prior to this album down, wasting away days of precious time. And a thing that always fixates me is that we're on this earth for such a limited amount of time in the grand scheme of space time continuum. dinosaurs, billions of years ago they were here. This Earth has been going for billions of years. We get a mean of about, nowadays probably 85 is kind of an average for most people. And it's such a minuscule space of time. We are so irrelevant in the kind of evolution of the Earth that it's like hold back the tears, realise what you actually have. Cause in the courses, things fade, life will change. Feel blessed every single day because eventually all things may prepare for it to go away. It's kind of that idea of like me knowing that I am going to die one day. But I've got to enjoy every single day until that happens, and I'm not scared of it. It's not something to run from. And yeah. Verse 2 is, it only takes a second for life to be lost. No amount of moving on can repay that cost as you mourn and reminisce. It's the simple things you miss, and for every parent, there's no escaping death's kiss. Because life is like a ticking bomb, got to fulfill as much as you can before time is gone to right every single wrong. It's that sort of idea as a life can be gone in an instant. And, you can get past it, but you can never really get back. There's always going to be some, like, an emptiness inside of you that, decades can go by since you lost someone. You can be okay on a day-to-day basis, but little things will come back, and it doesn't seem to be the big things. It will be the smallest details will remind you of small things that a person will do, and I think that is what always comes back to you. And no amount of moving on from a death can make you 100% moved on from it, and it's not like a relationship or like love or death is a permanent fixture. And yeah, I like the analogy of life being a ticking bomb because of how minute life is. If you're with some kind of higher power, if you're like this all-knowing God that people claim to be, and if this God can see past, present, future, literally, we are like the length of a couple milliseconds, and you've got to fulfill as much as you can before that time's out. You've got to speed run your life. You've got to live every day and make every day meaningful, and that's a big goal I have. And I feel like this was not only a song about life, death, but me and my motivation. I always feel bad if I've not done something in a day, so I will pretty much every day. If I'm not, at school, I'm writing a video script, I'm recording a video, I'm writing a song, I'm doing something productive, or at least I'm doing something that's going to contribute to something, and I try every single day. And it could be the smallest event, it might take 10 minutes of my day, but at least I will feel better going to sleep that night knowing that I've done that. So, yeah. Sometimes you forget the blessing you've been granted, the privilege you've been handed. We only get to go into life stomach cut soon. We just left the blue of the daily activities from me and Gary David Fuller. Because life ain't like a book, so it hinted the final chapter. Again, bring that kind of analogy of like, you never know when it's going to come. But this actually brings me the original title of the album, before Progress for the Sake of Progress, was Appreciate the Little Things. Because originally I did want to do an album about my privilege, because I thought, how do I like kind of follow up an album that was about suicide, an album that was about low points, depression. There weren't any positive songs for me that are like, it makes sense to do a album about appreciation, appreciate the thing society, but then it kind of turned into something else, and not all of the songs fit the mold. I decided to put the love arc in there as well and stuff, so it became Progress for the Sake of Progress, which is a more fitting title, but it's kind of that appreciation feel. The verse 3 is the rap verse, which I do tend to throw this into my pop songs. I always try to make one rap verse. I do it in Sketchup. Again, I do it in Race Potential, do it here. So the initial shock hits you like a rock, the usual like expecting camera, and not the death instrument to avoid that outrun. Classroom 21, from day 1 to be 105, you can reach the end at any time. Okay, that's got to be the worst rhyme I've ever put. Like, I needed, like, it was either 105 or 109, and like, it's a bit more realistic, but no one lives to 105. But it is the idea that you can be hit. I'm a lucky one to be given a chance. I should stop moving around and let myself enhance. I know I die eventually. I need to stop trying myself at the proud of myself. How can I man up? And I like the kind of dual narrative in Go Away. It's not just about life and death and the privilege of life. It's about me uplifting myself, and it is a catalyst that kind of fits to narratives, and there is dual purpose here. Then verse 4, death ain't fun. Too many leave too young. The pressure to make something out of this, that my ideology mindset of going out of the bit. Fun away amongst 7 billion, but some miracle I've given great position, yielding myself to a great position. My thankfulness is a static. I dedicate a song to when you've lost someone, you're left on these strength of yourself. How you've lost them, make them proud, and someday somehow you'll see them again. A bit to unpack here, so I like the idea of like being, I think there's 8 billion in the world now, so that's an outdated lyric. It was 7 billion when I wrote it. That's the problem, right? Sometimes people things get outdated so quickly. But it's kind of the idea of like there's loads of babies, and I wanted to focus on that idea of like there's many babies who die childbirth, who die really young, who are born, with cleft palates or facial deformities and die before their first birthday. I was lucky. I was quite fortunate, really, considering how I was born. I was basically born on Halloween. I was born on 9th of September, so, there could have been a world where I may not have made it. So it's like, okay, I've survived a burden that some people don't. Now I've got to make something out of this. I've got to find my way on 7 billion. And I've got great conditions in my life, and it's kind of, this song plays along with Always Been You quite well as well, because it's like, okay. And then the final, I dedicate this song to when you've lost someone, and I think, when I die, I don't want anyone to be sad about it. I want them to continue on with their life. I want them to just keep doing what they're doing. Of course, remember me, but, don't focus on it. Don't get fixated. Don't get down on it, because at the end of the day, it's like, it is what it is. You have to move on, and then if there is some afterlife of some sort, you might see me again, and that is, I think it's a good way to close it. I think I like Go Away a lot, and I think the reason it was a single was because it was such a good concept, and I think it really fit the time period that I wrote it in, and I like the dual meanings of the lyrics, and it was the first single, and maybe it isn't my best song, but I think it's one of my most creative ones, one of the more imaginative ones, so yeah, that is my breakdown of Go Away. So now you can go away and watch someone else. That was dead too.